you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is persistence. How do we overcome feelings of despair or disillusionment, disappointment, and cultivate hope in order to persist and continue in in engaging with life. So before we get started, let's just take a minute or two to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen just flooding into your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing every cell, every organ. And as you exhale, exhale any tension, fatigue, negativity, toxicity. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright oxygen. I'm sorry, brilliant, bright light flooding your whole system with energy and electricity and illumination, lighting up your electrons and molecules, energizing every cell, every organ. And as you exhale, exhale any remaining stress, tension, negativity, fatigue. And now let's just gently press our palms together. Really softly, softly rub your fingers against your palms to become present to the marvelous physical sensation of being here in this physical body right here, right now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning to everybody who's here joining us today. We're talking about persistence. There's so much in the world that challenges our will, sometimes challenges our will to live. And, we can become very depressed, disillusioned, lost in the darkness. And today we're going to talk about what it looks like to persist and to cultivate and nurture and nourish the the hope that can carry us through. Maybe I should have called this morning's talk Hope, but I've been talking with some folks have been experiencing some extreme disillusionment about things that are happening in the world and even, in interpersonally, politically, in the world in general. And we've talked about this previously multiple times, really, about how our perspective shifts and actually impacts our experience. And we we have the opportunity to move from a place of despair into a place of hopefulness that allows us to engage. Despair, I think, is a contractive process. It's something that pulls us into ourselves and kind of self-reflection in such a way that we retreat from the world. And I've seen that impulse in a bunch of people, um, and I've seen it in myself at times, and I recognize it. And I'm wanting to talk with you today about how we how we move from that place of despair and potential resignation and disillusionment into a place of engagement and hope. Good morning, Tammy. Welcome. It's great to have you here and everybody else who's joining us. So let's look at this. I'm sure that every one of us has experienced moments, if not even prolonged periods of despair and disillusionment, where we connect with the heartbreak, not only of our own heartbreak, but heartbreak of the world. And what happens? What is it that shifts, that enables us to move from that place of hopelessness and despair to persist long enough to get to the place of hope and possibility? So, I don't have an answer for this. I want to explore it with you because I know that as within so without, as without so within, there's this reflection that perpetuates a state of being. Good morning, Isabel. Welcome, welcome. We're talking about persistence today, and particularly persistence in the face of despair. To go from hello, Robert. Welcome. Great to be here with you. We're talking about the movement from this inward place of contraction and despair, and maybe even brokenheartedness, to moving into a more expansive place of possibility and hopefulness. Good morning, Jennifer. I don't think I recognize your name. It's wonderful to have you be here with us. Um, so, how does that movement happen? Because I think that there's a physiology that's attendant with these different states. Depression has a physiology to it. When you think about depression, or when you feel depression in your body, shoulders are rolled and slumped, and there's, it's kind of downward energy. And interestingly, like the will to persist, I want to talk about it even beyond just feelings of depression, but how about people who have extreme health conditions and are persisting even in the face of these extreme health conditions? There's some sort of profound, deeply embedded will to move through, to move beyond, to persist, that I think is driven maybe by this innate hopefulness. Even though it may not seem like it's there, like this underlying optimism, sense of possibility. Um, so in this persistence, I'm just trying to source what is this will, this incredible will to live that most of us have in the face of these moments of despair, even though we may entertain thoughts of dying. I'm talking about this because I know that a lot of us have experienced suicidal thoughts, and um, maybe even have attempted suicide. And the conversation here is about choosing life. Maybe that should have been the title. Is the actual moment. Some of us have given ourselves moments where we made a deliberate choice about whether to embrace life or to relinquish it or to leave. And I heard a story yesterday that was very, very profound, of a woman who had, as a teenager, was really considering suicide. And one day she made this muesli Good morning, Dennis. Wonderful to have you here. We're talking about choosing life and persistence and what is it that has us keep going. She made a cereal for herself with these poison berries, but it was a beautiful cereal and it would have tasted delicious. And she sat it down on the table and she set the place and she sat there and she said, "Okay, are you gonna live or are you gonna die?" And she, at that moment, chose life, like to deliberately choose life. Most of us live life by default, even though we have this persistence, um, and here to be able to directly, consciously choose life was such a profound story, such a profound story. And from that point, she has chosen life. For me, I spent years and years and years of my life, again, persisting, um, even in the face of daily, if not constant, thoughts of dying and wanting to not be here. And then finally, when I was 40, I found myself having decided where I was going to kill myself. And I had a storage unit and I decided that I was going to just go and die in my storage unit. And it was at that moment that I had the opportunity to see myself having made that decision, and had the grace to say I need help. And I chose in that moment to live. And Lisa says the first step is the hardest. We're talking about persistence and depression. And so I went from PTSD from mom's death into manic depression and then major health issues. I had to find an intestinal fortitude and fight like hell. Then, this is weird, but a fairy in a carriage with purple and white flowers came in my room and told me it was going to be better. It was magical. The next day, things started to improve. After 20 years, I woke up, got out, and now I choose living every day of my life. Lisa, that is spectacular. Thank you so much for sharing that story and how magical. It's interesting in my story. I talk about a moment of grace where I had the opportunity to see I had made this decision and to make a choice about it. You had a fairy come and tell you that things were going to be all right. And what a gift that is. And I'm so delighted to hear that you moved through this deep depression and major health issues and mental health issues to come to a place where you're alive and living life. So that's remarkable. And thank you, Dennis. Yeah, I'm grateful I made the right decision too. The best part of my life has happened since I've made that decision. One of the things that I recognized about that decision and this whole thing around hopefulness and despair is that by making that decision to live, I also, having seen that I was really seriously looking at dying, I gave myself permission to live the life that I wanted to live. I gave myself permission to do the things that fed my soul, despite what others' opinions might be, what others' judgments might be. And so that what I realized, and I think that this is probably the case for so many of us, is that perhaps the despair is coming in part, if not in total, from our unwillingness to follow our dreams and our unwillingness to feed our soul and to listen to the impulses of our hearts, that feeling trapped in expectations that we impose upon ourselves, believing that those are the expectations of others, or receiving the expectations of others in a way that we allow ourselves to constrain ourselves to try and meet these other expectations, and having a lack of self love and self appreciation, such that we really follow our heart's path, our heart's song. Elaine says these types of experiences are part of the journey to remember who you are. 100%, Elaine. 100%. So I think that so much of the despair that we experience, there's a lot of despair to respond to in the world if we want to look for that. But I find that when we're despairing in and of ourselves, that's when we see, and that's when we really internalize the despair in the world. So it's like we can see the world reflecting back these reasons and occasions for despair. And when we're hopeful and joyful, we see hopeful and joyful things in the world. We have, it's not that we don't recognize that there are things in the world to despair about, but we're better able to navigate those things, or um, interact with them from a different place of being. So Elaine says, uh, people pleasing is a very painful way to live, but also a useful teaching on letting go. Well, so to your point, Elaine, the thing is that so many of these experiences in life, they either we'll either allow them to be our destruction, our demise, or we will allow them to be a catalyst for growth and transformation and awakening. And I can't say how many times I've seen these devastating experiences in people's lives be the foil against which people transform and grow and become so much more of who they are. And uh, that's the magnificence of this notion of persistence. It doesn't mean persisting with the same behaviors over and over, doing the same thing and expecting different results. We know that's the recipe for crazy, right? But it does mean I think, having this deep inner will that is our inspiration. Maybe it is like the life force asserting itself. In there are people who choose to exit, and I have to say I understand that, having been in such agony for so many years, to just want it to end. I understand that. And I'm also really grateful for whatever it was in me that gave me the drive to persist. And so many of us, we've been through such hardship and such challenge, and maybe it's that in our heart of hearts, in our soul of souls, we know that there is growth and transformation for us through these difficult times, that we have a greater capacity that we're able to access by pushing through. And I wonder also, for folks who, for instance, for folks who have terminal diseases, terminal illnesses, and choose to persist until they die of natural causes at some point, and not die of the disease, but die die rather than choosing to leave. Good morning, Robin. Welcome. It's great to have you here. We're talking about persistence and this remarkable facet of human nature that has us continue walking through the shadow to get. Good morning, Gia. Welcome. It's great to see you here. That has us walking through the shadow to get to the other side. Even in the face of despair and discomfort and disillusionment. And I was saying that I know a number of us here have confronted our death, have considered suicide, have struggled through deep depression to come to a better place, or are still in moving through that place to get to, to get to a place of relief, or just to continue for the sake of continuing even. Lisa says, I make sure I hold myself accountable if I start to acquiesce, because in the past I got so far and then stepped back. But this time is different. I feel it. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud to hear that from you. Lisa, you asked, what is your birthday? I'm not sure why you asked that, but um, my birthday is July 18th. So I'm a Cancer and I have tons of planets in Leo, like 5 planets in Leo, lots of fire in my chart. Um, and that was sort of a non sequitur. Anyway, I'm thrilled for you, Lisa, that this time is different, and that you're awakened to the possibility of who you can be, and that evolves and continues to grow for all of us who persist. I mean, I never ever would have imagined the life that I now have when I was going through years and years and years of despair. And I don't know what it was that allowed me to continue. So Elaine says, I've walked with all types of people with diseases and experiences, and all serve, known and unknown. I'm not sure what you're saying there, Elaine. I think it didn't come through quite the way you meant it. So Lisa says, I knew you were a Cancer. I should have just asked if you were. I'm curious why you knew that. That's awesome, Lisa. Thank you. And Gia says, I'd love to wish you, Mira, on your birthday. Oh, yesterday was your birthday, Gia. Happy birthday. And I'm sure from all of us, happy birthday. Wonderful to be able to celebrate even belatedly with you. Maggie, 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 no. Maggie. She's eating the plant again, as usual. Maggie, Maggie, no, get down. What can I say? She is a badness. I'm gonna be having to close this off this morning, because I have an appointment at 9:30. But Elaine says all experiences serve to expand our awareness. Absolutely. And Gia says, I love and get inspired always with your journey. Hold on one second. So, um, Maggie's back to be able to say, oh, I thought she would be back to say goodbye, but she was here and gone. Anyway, I'm trying to save what's left of this plant that she's been destroying. And I even have a name for the plant. Her name is Audrey, like from Little Shop of Horrors, because she's this amazing, huge, very uh, um, prolific plant that has been taking over my window. So, anyway, thank you, Gia. And Christina's laughing at Maggie, her badness. We should call, instead of her highness, we should call her badness. Lisa says you have the spirit and heart of a cancer. Thank you, Lisa. So anyway, it's time to wrap up, but I want to honor all of you for your persistence, for your determination and courage to continue in the face of incredible obstacles and difficulties and challenges of heart and spirit and body, and just to honor you for being part of this journey and for joining me in this journey, and being such a wonderful support, and being such wonderful collaborators in this. And I really honor you and am so grateful that you're all here and have persisted. And yeah, so keep the faith, everybody. So much love. Robin says, I was wondering where Maggie was, chuckling. Thank you, with blessings for good news for from your appointment. Oh, the appointment is with a client. I have a client that I'm seeing, so no worries. All is good, and I so appreciate this time with you. I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection. I go live each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page. And please check out the other wonderful programming on Enlightened World Network. I'm so grateful to spend this time with you. So much love.